Hello, everyone. Welcome to our annual Ramadan dinner. We really appreciate that you choose to spend the time with us in this virtual iftar dinner, is because we can't really find in-person iftars anymore. So this event is organized by Peace Islands Institute in several states: New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and we want to welcome you all in a nice event. And we have a lot of guests tonight that will be speaking to you about fasting, about the importance of Ramadan, and we will be sharing our reflections on Ramadan, what it means for us, as well as coming together in this COVID environment and kind of remembering the existence of our friends, neighbors, and basically having a good night today, hopefully. I want to welcome you all on behalf of the Peace Islands Institute, where I'm a board member, and I really enjoy that I will be hosting the event tonight. So we will start our night with a video about Ramadan, so we can brief you on that, and then we'll continue. Thank you.
Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar dedicated to fasting, and fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Each day during this month, from dawn to sunset, Muslims all over the world abstain from eating, drinking, smoking, and other bodily desires. Fasting is intended to discipline a believer's spirituality, humility, and patience. Ramadan is a time to cleanse the soul, to focus on God, and to practice selflessness. Ramadan is also the month in which the Quran, the holy book of Islam, started to be revealed for the first time. The journey of fasting starts with the sahur, the pre-dawn meal. Fasting opens the doors of deep contemplation as the believer realizes his blessings. Fasting is not only about the stomach, but also the heart and the mind. Muslims should refrain from blameworthy thoughts and acts, an example, foul language, vain talk, and hurtful behavior. As one believer explains,
I did not even realize what a wonderful blessing water is. Since I have easy access to water and everything I eat, I did not appreciate them properly. Now, in the voluntary absence of them, I value and appreciate your bounties. Thank you, O Lord, for everything you bestowed upon us. I thought I was strong and not dependent on anything. Now, look how weak and needy my body has become. I am in desperate need of water and food. Without them, I cannot exist and survive. I am weak, O Lord. I need you and your sustenance to survive. Thank you for reminding me of my weakness and your greatness through fasting. I do have a desperate desire to eat and drink, but because I am fasting, I cannot follow my urges. I have to control myself and should not let my craving control my soul and body. Now I am in between my flesh and God's commands. Fasting will allow me to have a stronger will. Thank you, O Lord, for showing me the way of controlling my desires and teaching me patience through fasting. How about the people who are suffering with hunger and thirst every day? The beggar of food on my way to work whom I neglect every day. Now I understand what they're going through every day. Thank you, O Lord, for reminding me my responsibilities to humanity through fasting. I will share more what I have. I will not waste, and I will appreciate my life.
Muslims not only increase their prayer, but also their charity, kindness, generosity, patience, and forgiveness in Ramadan. It is essentially a month of training used to discipline and prepare oneself for the remainder of the year. Ramadan ends with the festival of Eid al-Fitr, which is a day of celebration and gratitude.
Welcome back. Yes, thank you so much. It was a great learning about Ramadan for those who have never really, knew about the importance of Ramadan in the Muslim tradition, and we really appreciate the information. So now, actually, we have another video from the Massachusetts Senator from Ed Markey. Maybe most of you already know him. He has been a lawyer and a politician who has served in the United States Senator from Massachusetts since 2013. And he has been a member of Democratic Party and a U.S. representative representative for Massachusetts 7th Congressional District from 1976 to 2013. So basically, between the House and the Senate, he has served in the Congress for more than 4 decades. So let's see what he has to say for us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Senator Ed Markey, and I would like to thank the Peace Island Institute for inviting me to share a few words today in celebration of the holy month of Ramadan. I would also like to thank the Institute for uniting the people through peace talks and interfaith connections. We are all stronger together. Ramadan is the most sacred month of the year for Muslims around the world. And I hope this month brings immense blessings and happiness for Muslim families in Massachusetts and across our country and across the world as they break their fast together in the evenings and celebrate their faith through charity, kindness, and unity. The pandemic has made it difficult for Muslim families to celebrate this holy month, and I hope this year you are able to enjoy the bountiful traditions that Ramadan brings. I wish you all a blessed, healthy, and safe month full of inner peace and contentment, and wish the best for you and for your families. Ramadan Mubarak.
That was a lovely message from the senator. We really appreciated that. So now we actually have our friends with us, faith leaders, Imam Ibrahim Sayar, Reverend Ann Ralowski, and Rabbi Andy Bachman. I will briefly introduce them to you, and we will make it an informal Q&A session with them discussing fasting. So first I will start with Imam Ibrahim Sayar. He works as a staff chaplain at Children's Hospital of Harvard Medical Center. And he has been actually a supporter of Peace Islands Institute for many, many years. And so we really welcome him to the discussion. And we have Reverend Ann Ralowski, and she is a senior minister since 2009 in Montclair, New Jersey. She lives with her husband and 2 adult children. Again, with Reverend Ann, we have been, doing many events together on Peace Islands Institute. So she's a dear friend. And Rabbi Andy Bachman, that I met new, but I'm sure he has been in networking with Peace Islands for a long, long time, is a New York City-based community leader and an educator, and a nationally recognized executive teacher, writer, rabbi, and social entrepreneur. And he's a deeply dedicated Jewish leader. So I want to welcome them all. So let's see everyone. Great. So great to see everyone. So we really appreciate you coming and joining us tonight. And as the faith leaders, you all know, right? Fasting in every faith, it has such a deep meaning, such importance, because at the end of the day, we all, as the faithful people, are really trying to reach God through different practices. So I want to start with the historical order with Rabbi Andy. So maybe you can let us know a little bit about the fasting in Jewish tradition and what it means to you personally as well as to the community.
I would be so honored. Thank you very much. And Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak to you and all of your loved ones. This is really an honor, as it always is, to share time with you. And I'm sorry we can't be together, but soon enough, I hope. The fast in Judaism begins first and foremost in the Torah, where the Jews are commanded to fast by, quote unquote, inflicting their souls on a day of atonement. I was very moved by the similarities of the reasons for the fast in your Ramadan video. It's really Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year for us, is a 24-hour fast, and it's a time for us to examine ourselves, examine our deeds, ask ourselves, have we been the best person we can be to our fellow human being, and have we been the best Jew that we can be before our God? And denying ourselves food and drink during that 24-hour period is meant to focus exclusively on the spiritual aspects of that day. There are a number of other what we call minor fasts or smaller fasts within the tradition, that also have an exactly similar focus to them, oftentimes in consonance with a day of mourning or during a period of intense introspection. For instance, there is a fast day between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, so between the New Year and the Day of Atonement. But effectively, it really truly is a day of introspection, of self-examination, of allowing ourselves both to be judged by God and to judge ourselves so that we may come out better and stronger and kinder and more loving people.
Absolutely great. Thank you so much, River. And what do you want to add from a Christianity perspective as well, to understand what it means in general and for you as well?
Right. There's such a broad spectrum within Christianity and different denominations, different traditions within it. And the tradition that primarily is most intensely focused on fasting would be in the Catholic and the Orthodox traditions. I was raised Roman Catholic before becoming a United Church of Christ minister, so I had much experience with the fasting in the Catholic tradition, primarily focused on the season that we called Lent, which begins on Ash Wednesday and goes for 40 days until Easter Sunday. And it is a sort of a solemn season of growing closer to God through denying ourselves certain comforts, certain things that we, come to rely on, and maybe habits that have numbed us to the presence of God. And oftentimes those habits have to do with what we consume, whether it's certain foods or drink or, other things. And so it is a tradition most intensely within the Catholic arm of Christianity, but also within Protestant Christianity, to throughout these 40 days of Lent, to deny yourselves something that you've come to depend on in terms of a bodily comfort. And the reasons are very similar to what was shared in the video, and certainly to what Rabbi Bachman shared. It is a deepening of our awareness of our need for God, a way of getting rid of that distracting layer of self-indulgence that can make us feel like, we've got this. We can take care of ourselves, when we know that ultimately we are fragile creatures. We are vulnerable, and our bodies are dependent on the goodness of food and drink, and our souls are dependent on the goodness of God. So in my tradition, which is a Reformed Protestant tradition, fasting is not as primary as it is in the Catholic tradition, but that season of Lent, and particularly Ash Wednesday, which begins it, and Good Friday, which ends it, are our most intense days of recognizing, quite frankly, our mortality, the ultimate frailty of the human body. And so denying ourselves food and drink is a way of symbolically making that reality very visceral, even as we know it is for a short amount of time. So that we have all of the Abrahamic faiths here, the people of the book that are represented on this screen, have so much in common when it comes to the origins and the connecting threads of these various religious traditions. So it's always such a joy to be in the interfaith company that Peace Islands has inspired within this community.
No, thank
So
you. Thank you so
yes,
much.
Ramadan Mubarak to all of the Peace Islands family.
Yeah, we love that. Thank you so much, Reverend Orlowski. I really always appreciate, like, when we start discussing, I always appreciate, like, this, not only similarities but also the themes that comes out, like, so uniquely. So Imam Ibrahim Sayar, I know we know about Ramadan, right? We learned about the video, but in general, if you want to explain fasting, right, like how how critical it is to the application of religion and what it means for us, in general. So we would appreciate the summary there.
Yeah, I would like to start, since you went with the historical order. There was one sentence that we shared with our imams and rabbis, and we used to say that First Testament, or Old Testament, New Testament, and Last Testament, Quran. And in the Last Testament, Quran recognizes the fasting. So when there is a clear verse from Quran that says, we have prescribed fasting on you like we have prescribed people who came before you. So like the fasting in all traditions in Christianity, in Judaism, and maybe older than that, has been recognized. I would like to underline this in the Islamic tradition. So fasting I mean, it's part of, it is mandatory for those who can. So I cannot go deep into details. For those who have the right age, who have the right mental status and health status, so are mandatory to fast. It is not left to us. To me, that is also very interesting, because there are some things that we do not leave to our children to decide. It is decided already by the parents. You just have to do it. So that's you may not recognize the value of it right now, but you just have to go to school now. So it's not up to them. Just like this, God did not leave this to us, to me. So it is mandatory. It is something that you have to do as a creator. I know what you need, and this is something that you have to do. So to me, this is it is very, very interesting. Like you said, Dr. Nurai, most of the aspects of Ramadan and fasting has been explained beautifully in the video.
Andy, I don't know if you were here listening for the part about Dina too. I mentioned her request for more staff.
I hear voices. I don't know.
Listening, and I'm
I think
here.
we're good.
Sorry, this is just a very Ramadan thing has turned into be highly
Sorry.
unusual, to say the least. I hope they
No
can't hear
worries.
me.
Yeah.
Rabbi Andy, that's good. Perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there is the obedience part also. Maybe I can add into that. So God is basically, why we are fasting. God is telling us to fast, and we are obeying Him and fasting. To me, the supper of like break fasting is the most emotional and most spiritual time to me, because before us it is like the living embodiment of Ramadan in the supper, right before the fast breaking, because all the blessings of God is on the table, and God is telling us not to touch them, not to eat them, even though we are hungry, even though we are thirsty. We are just obeying His order and not touching it. By doing this, we are accepting our littleness, God's greatness. And by doing this, we are also accepting the fact that all of the blessings that came from God actually belongs to Him. As the owner, He is telling us not to touch them, and that way we are accepting the fact that everything that we eat and drink or blessed with, as a matter of fact, belongs to God. And in the video also, it has been talked about the spiritual elevation. Yes, there are a lot of studies and there are a lot of traditions that connects. There is a connection between like eating a lot and losing the spirituality, or eating less and having spiritually elevated. And it is also true in the Islamic tradition. Please remember, like Moses, peace be upon him, before he talked to God, had like spent 40 days without eating. Jesus, peace be upon him, also like spent like 40 days, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, before he was raised to God, which we call Mi'raj, and he spent also 40 days without eating. So there is a connection, and I think Muslims are spiritually elevated, therefore better connected with the Creator. And that's why I think it has been also stated in the video, this month is also called the month of Quran. And I think elevated spirituality and the month of Quran has a connection. God is telling us, so read Quran with the spiritual stage that you are in right now, because that way you will understand the message better. So I think there is a great connection, and God wants us to make another connection with the creation. So when you have reached the spiritual level that you are in through fasting, the creation is not the same into your eye, into your soul anymore. So it has a lot more deeper meanings to you. And also like connecting with the ones who are in need and have a first-hand understanding of hunger, so that you can have a better connection with them. and the teaching of patience. Obviously, that's something also very important. I think I should stop there. If you have like further, I think I passed my time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ibrahim Sayar. I mean, I still want to make sure that, I mean, we don't not discuss, you know, while we're discussing fasting and the company of each other, not forget about, you know, COVID, right? Like everything that, you know, is kind of became central to our lives. The way we're basically having technical issues, you know, basically partnerships and all of that. So I want to briefly, you know, get your perspectives about how COVID impacted our faith lives, your congregations, your lives. So I would appreciate, you know, maybe you can chime in, Rabbi Andy, if you want to chime in on this, if you want to start. Would that work?
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a board meeting going on right now as well. Talk about
Totally
crazy
understand.
times. I'm very sorry about
This is actually what we
trying to
actually
juggle too
learn in
much.
terms of exactly learn how to multitask in different computers. You're doing a great job.
It's too much. This is a classic example. We've done our best to pivot. Most of our programming, of course, is virtual, but we have been able to go in person with children's programming, not with adults programming. And for me, the one real profound note about COVID in our community has been that the distance has actually, ironically, increased the sense of the communal, the sense of love for one another, the sense of togetherness. I can say without question our community has grown stronger as the result, and technology has brought us remarkably closer together than I ever would have thought. And I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I actually was thinking about it, right? Like, you know, in the past when we did these type of programs, I struggled to get to a place, like had to drive through, and rarely I got together with somebody in New York and somebody in Boston. And then of course Reverend and I live close, so it's New Jersey. So I feel like there's like some negatives, to be honest with you. Of course, I would have loved to be on a dinner table with all of you rather than just sitting in front of our screens. But I feel like there's also positives that we get to actually, you know, be partners with around the world almost, you know, right? Do you want to add to that, Reverend Dan?
Yes, we found many similar things to what Rabbi Andy was saying. You know, it's such a cliche, but there's a reason cliches are said, which is what we've discovered so deeply is that our church is not the building. And as Dr. Yurt knows, we have a magnificent building, and we very much were identified with the beauty of that space. But because we're all worshiping from our homes now, and yet still feeling this deep kinship and this deep spiritual connection, we're recognizing that you know the faith community is wherever we are, and so that's been something that we sort of knew but had never had to try to push it the way we have. You know, many of us, especially those of us in charge of communities, we've had to jump into the deep end of the pool with technology, which is not my forte. So there's been a lot of learning on the fly. There's been a lot of extending of grace to one another, that we're all learning and trying the best we can with the aim of remaining this loving community and doing the best we can, showing up for each other. But we have had people join our congregation from as far away as Monrovia, Liberia, in Africa. We've had folks who have left our church. They had to move away, and now they're back with us on coffee hour and worship and adult education sessions and fellowship. It's been a amazing experience of drawing our circle wider than what our own building would have us do. So that is a blessing. But I also think that in general, not just speaking to the specifics of our congregation or congregational life, I think as a community, as a species, I think the quieting down and sometimes even feeling like our lives have gotten so small and even stagnant has made the moments of connection so much more deeply felt. Sort of like what the Imam was saying about breaking the fast being sort of an overwhelmingly spiritual experience. I think we've been fasting from company as well. We've been depriving each other, not necessarily by our own choice, of what it is to be close with other human beings. And so as people have gotten vaccinated, as folks have been tested and feel that they're safe to be together, those few moments that we have been together have been so deeply treasured. So I hope that when we get back to whatever we might call normal, that we don't rush to make things the way they used to be, where we were so busy, so racing from here to there, so spreading ourselves so thin, and instead recognize how meaningful it is, deeply meaningful, to go deep with a small community, maybe just a conversation with one person, as opposed to the way we were always trying to do so much, produce and consume in this sort of endless cycle. So, if that can be a learning that we take from this COVID year, spiritually, as a wider society, with how we make priorities and how we learn to care and love for each other, especially those that have been revealed to be most vulnerable by this pandemic. I hope that we are not the same people we were in February of 2020, but instead have grown more close to one another, more close to what it is to be human, and certainly closer to what it is to be children of God, sharing the gift of this earth and of our faith traditions together. That would be a real blessing to come out of this very, very difficult year.
Yes, no, fully aligned. You always explain things beautifully, Reverend, and I mean, you really put a note. Sometimes being with people, but also, taking the time to be with God almost, right? Like not rushing through the lives, but also appreciating the moments, per se. I think that's kind of absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. So, Imam Ibrahim Sayar, do you have things to add in this COVID world?
Yeah, actually, Reverend Anne just underlined my note over here. I know that like COVID time, socially fasting, social fasting. So I
Yeah.
actually like we have been fasting like socially for more than a year right now, not really being physically connected with our beloved ones, with our communities. We have been separated, and I keep telling in my prayers, oh God, so we have learned also the value of our communities, of our brothers and sisters. What a wonderful things were like coming together in the Friday prayers, in my like perspective. So we used to have at Children's Hospital where I work, I was holding Friday prayers every Friday, and I did not even pray myself the Friday prayer more than a year right now for the safety of our like patients and their families. But I dearly miss this like communities that we used to come together. So those were things we used to take for granted. And through the social fasting, through COVID-19, I think we have learned, just like also in the month of Ramadan, we have learned how weak we are physically and spiritually, how destroyable, how vulnerable we were. So that was a like great teaching to me. Like the COVID time, even though I continued to work full time because of I'm a healthcare worker, there were times it was like spiritually almost unbearable, because I have witnessed, many people dying without anybody. Since nobody is allowed in the hospitals, the loved ones are not around them, and seeing people dying without anybody, and we are the only ones there. So there you are, somebody of nobody, somebody over there. So it kind of like kicked us really, really, really hard. But it is kind of, as I said, like the socially fasting part. That is the part that is really we are hoping to get rid of sooner. But ironically, we have a bigger community right now, like two of you underlined. I can get connected with people from Africa and from New Jersey, from New York, from all over the world right now, in a way that we did not used to do in the past.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I think we've also discovered the limits of human nature, right? Like, so it was just one virus. It just took us totally unexpectedly, not knowing what to do. I mean, I think you touched in a good point. I mean, at the same time, we kind of understood, community being a much larger community than what we can see. It was beyond the people that we can see that we've actually discovered. So thank you so much. So now, I mean, it's been a great discussion, and we will be back, for closing the program and with prayers, everyone. But now we're gonna go to a video to watch calligraphy art. Yes, it was beautiful. Art is always beautiful. So now actually we have a message from Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. Just, I don't know if she needs an introduction, but just to give you a brief information about her, she proudly represents New Jersey's 11th Congressional District. After graduating from the United States Naval Academy, Congresswoman Sherrill spent almost 10 years on active duty in the United States Navy. And she's an outreach and reentry coordinator. She developed programs to help prevent crime in the community, and these programs develop trust between law enforcement and communities they serve, and help people leaving prison to gain employment. Congresswoman Sherrill, as an assistant U.S. attorney, worked to keep our communities safe, prosecuting federal cases, and advising law enforcement on investigations. So let's see what she has to say.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. I'd like to wish everyone a peaceful fast and thank you for all of the work you do combating poverty with your real sense of empathy. I know we have many people in my district who celebrate Ramadan, and that sense of community and peace transitions from Ramadan throughout the year. And we see so many times it's our masjids here that bring us together in times of crisis, bring us together as a community, both in the sad times and in the happy times. Normally, I'd be excited to get out and to see many of my community members with iftar dinners. And unfortunately, this year, we won't be doing that, but I do hope we will see that soon, maybe even a celebration, an Eid celebration at the end of Ramadan outside if our cases go down. But until then, take care, stay safe and healthy. And thank you so much for everything you do for our community.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Sherrill. I almost feel the same. Hopefully we can at least get some Eid celebration in person if everything goes well and the vaccinations are going as fast as they are currently. So now another great part is coming up. So we have music, which is gonna be presented live with Erkishi family. They're very famous, artists, and for me, they're like the best musicians that I know of, basically. And I think they do such a great job with music and combination of feelings. I want to welcome them, and I will just leave it up to them. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Nuray. It's a pleasure to be with this meaningful program, really. We are very happy and what do you say, Aslı?
And we want to celebrate all Muslim people's Ramadan.
Yeah. Now we want to sing two Sufi song for you. First one. Thank you very much, Rola.
Okay.
At first, my compose. Thank you very much, O Allah, and then we will zikr the God's names, Esma Zikri. Let's start to thank you very much, O Allah. Thank you very much, oh Allah. I love you so much, oh Allah. Thank you very much, oh Allah. I love you so much, oh Allah. You're the richest, you're the greatest, you're the generous, oh Allah. You're the lover, you're the beloved, you're the one, oh Allah. You're the richest, you're the greatest, you're the generous, oh Allah. You're the lover, you're the beloved, you're the one, oh Allah. I took a rose in my hand to give me the eyes to see. You gave me the mouth to say, you gave me the hands to hold. I took a rose in my hand to give me the eyes to see. You gave me the nose to say, you gave me the hands to hold. Thank you very much, oh Allah. I love you so much, oh Allah. Thank you very much, oh Allah. I love you so much, oh Allah. You gave me a pair of ears to hear the lonely voice of my mom. I've learned prayers from her voice. You gave me a tongue to say them. You gave me a pair of ears to hear the lonely voice of my mom. I've learned prayers from her voice. You gave me a tongue to say them. Thank you very much, oh Allah. I love you so much, oh Allah. Thank you very much, oh Allah. I love you so much, oh Allah. Allah, Allah, şükran lillah, zikran lillah, ya Allah, 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 şükran lillah, zikran lillah, ya Allah, 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 şükran lillah, zikran lillah, ya Allah, 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 şükran lillah, zikran lillah, Allah, ya aziz Allah, Allah Allah, şükren lillah, zikren lillah, ya kerim Allah, Allah Allah, şükren lillah, zikren lillah, ya kerim Allah, Allah Allah, şükren lillah, zikren lillah, ya kerim Allah, Allah Allah, şükren lillah, zikren lillah, ya medet Allah. Yes, right. We again celebrate all our friends, all our Muslims Ramadan, and our audience. We send our loves to them, to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate such a great talent. We thank Ertuğrul and Aslıhan for this great form of art and all the best wishes, basically for our friends. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. And from here, we will actually go to another Congresswoman and her message. So I will be introducing you Congresswoman Jana Hayes, and she is the U.S. Representative for the 5th Congressional District of Connecticut. Congresswoman Hayes her story is one of the achievements despite the odds of overcoming obstacles that life can place before anyone. She has been quoted as saying that education saved her life, and she is a fierce advocate for ensuring equitable access to educational opportunities for all students and families. And before running for the office, she was an educator for 15 years teaching history at Kennedy High School in Waterbury. So let's see what she has a message for us.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Jahana Hayes from Connecticut's 5th Congressional District. Thank you so much for inviting me to your Ramadan Iftar celebration. Unfortunately, I was not able to log on using the link, but I have been watching along on YouTube, and I am so renewed and encouraged by all of what I'm hearing. Hi, I'm Congresswoman Jahana Hayes from Connecticut's 5th Congressional District. Thank you so much for inviting me to your Ramadan Iftar celebration. Unfortunately, I was not able to log on using the link, but I have been watching along on YouTube, and I am so renewed and encouraged by all of what I'm hearing. Thank you to the Peace Island Institute of Connecticut for your commitment to charity, to our communities, and to really engaging each other to make sure that we are all working together for the betterment of our communities. I'm enjoying this program, and I look forward to reconnecting with you at a different date, at a later place, once we are out of this pandemic. But again, thank you so much for the work that you're doing and for inviting me to join you today.
We really thank Congresswoman Hayes, as she was describing, technical issues is part of our lives these days. It became the norm. So that's basically why she was very quick to send us a video instead of the live discussion. So we really appreciate her efforts on that. So now we will go to another video from Enes Kanter, who is a very famous NBA player, as you are aware. And we want to get his message for our audience.
Hi everyone, this is Enes Kanter from Portland Trail Blazers, and I just wanted to say I would like to thank you for inviting me tonight. It's an honor to share Iftar meal with the Peace Island Institute and guests. Every year I welcome the month of Ramadan with an excitement since my childhood. I remember when I was 10, 11 years old, Ramadan was my mom's special meals, sahurs and iftars. It was all about food and family and gatherings. Ramadan means Hi everyone, this is Enes Kanter from Portland Trail Blazers, and I just wanted to say I would like to thank you for inviting me tonight. It's an honor to share Iftar meal with the Peace Island Institute and guests. Every year I welcome the month of Ramadan with an excitement since my childhood. I remember when I was 10, 11 years old, Ramadan was my mom's special meals, sahurs and iftars. It was all about food and family and gatherings. Ramadan means totally different to me now, because Ramadan is a journey, learning experience and opportunities to do good deeds And every year, millions of Muslims try to be more sensitive and focused to do good deeds and catch and enjoy and spiritual vibe. And also, Ramadan is a self-discipline and self-control. To able to achieve that, we have to understand our body and soul. As an athlete, this is what I do every day to focus and do better. So please pray for our victory tonight. We have a tough game coming up, and I'll be fasting while playing. And once again, I wish you and your family Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah gives us the strength and fulfill the needs of this month and Ramadan Kareem. And when this whole pandemic ends, I hope to see you and all your family at one of my games. And thank you guys for the support.
It was great to hear from Enes, and as he touched upon, uh, childhood and kids. So we said, I mean, it's a big part of our community, especially also as the kids adapt to fasting. I have a 9-year-old, and I was asking him actually what he likes most about the Ramadan, and he said he loves the taste of food after staying hungry for that many hours. So now we have a video from established by the kids of our community, just kind of to give you an understanding of Ramadan excitement in them.
I'm grateful because I live in a democratic society.
I am grateful for my family and friends.
Hey, I'm grateful this Ramadan because my friends, me, and my family are all healthy.
I am grateful for my family and also for my mouse that I was able to buy, and I really enjoy using my mouse.
I'm very grateful that I have friends and family that make me laugh all the time. Whenever we get together, we always have loads of fun.
Yes, so this was a lovely evening, and we really want to thank our faith leaders by bringing them again, and we really want to understand their wishes and prayers for tonight and for the rest of the month. So thank you so much, Rabbi Andy, Reverend Ann, and Imam Ibrahim. So if we can take your, couple of minutes, again, prayers, wishes, anything that you want to add. And we really want to thank you for being with us tonight. We really appreciate all the multitasking you had to do and all the time you had to spend. So thank you. Rabbi Andy, I can't hear you. Could you be on mute or?
There we go. How is that? Is that better?
Perfect.
Good.
Yes,
Okay. Sorry about that. And again, apologies for the multitasking. We have many
totally.
masters in this world. Um, uh, Look, I have a couple of real, true favorite quotes from our Torah, which in settings like this are totally vital to share. One is ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, that we are commanded to love our neighbors as ourselves. And I've never experienced the kind of love and hospitality in an interfaith setting as I have from members that I've gotten to know in the Peace Islands Institute and in other settings. And it's such a blessing and an honor to be here. And I take that commandment truly. And I certainly see that you practice it with just such great love. And that's a blessing to experience. And second is the blessing that Moses's brother Aaron gave to the people, that was meant to express the inner light of God coming forward. And so I would like to share it. And the words are, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, may God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisar Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, may the divine always shine forth on you and grant you peace.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
a
We really
Ramadan
appreciated
Mubarak.
those. Thank you. We really appreciate you sharing. Reverend Nand, if you want to add.
Yes, I'm thinking back to those wonderful meals that we would share together, Dr. Yurt, in our guild room with the sights and the sounds and the smells and the laughter and all that was, our hearts and our stomachs would overflow. But tonight I would just like to offer a prayer for this community. As we lift up our hearts and we say, gracious God, we thank you for the friendship, the memories, the connections that are forged so deep between our communities. We thank you for the ways that a hungry body can lead to a full soul. We thank you for the ways that your blessings spread out before us can make us realize how deeply connected we are to you and to all of humanity. And so on this night, I ask for blessings upon all of my Muslim brothers and sisters, friends and family, that they feel God's presence so deeply within their lives, and that the spirit of Ramadan may overflow from this month and extend beyond and into the world where it is so deeply needed. We pray this in your many names. Amen.
Thank you. That really was great. I remembered actually your prayers in the guild room, so I look forward to those celebrations. So, hopefully maybe Thanksgiving will be our next event, but definitely miss hugs and miss being gathering together. So thank you so much, Reverend, and we can't really appreciate your enough taking the time. And I know how busy you are, with a lot of things going on as well. So I really appreciate the effort and the time that you put in, and the prayers and all the great points that you touched. So Imam Ibrahim, so how do you want to add?
Yeah. First, I would like to say prayers that has been shared by Rabbi and Reverend. And I would like to also give a little prayer, because in our Islamic tradition, there are places and times that prayers are especially not returned by God. And right before the breaking fast is one of that times. The one who fasts and makes prayer, makes dua, or right before breaking the fast is one of the most accepted times. So I think this is the right time, and just want to say what comes from my heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All the things, whoever does it, where does it, goes to you, O God. Dear God, you commanded us to fast during the month of Ramadan, and we are fasting. Help us recognize your greatness by realizing our weakness. We are in need of you and your sustenance. Without your blessing, we cannot survive. Dear God, bring us closer to you through fasting. Help us understand your divine mission in this life. We know that you are good, and you want us to be good and do good. Dear God, help us grow the seed of goodness in our souls, so that we can grow as good people with good people. Dear God, We are not only fasting from food and drink, we all are socially fasting throughout the world for more than a year right now. As we appreciate and value your sustenance through fasting in the month of Ramadan, we also learned to appreciate our friends, our communities, which we cannot come together for a while now. Because of COVID-19, and sometimes because of brutality, some of our communities are experiencing throughout the world. And with your name, dear God, help us break fast from our social fasting too. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. I know Rabbi and Andy had to leave, and thank you so much, Reverend and thank you so much for Ibrahim, Imam Ibrahim, for being with us tonight. We really want to thank you so much, and I really want to thank our audience as well. We're going to end the program with Adhan. I know it's really not exactly the time, but we assume that everybody in the globe is watching us, so we will just end with the call to prayer. That you will watch the video, and thank you so much for the time, and we apologize for all the technical and difficulties, but I feel like this became the norm these days, so I appreciate the time and everyone, and especially our technical support, Mr. Said, and thank you so much for all of the things that he was able to do. It's not easy being on the control room. I can totally relate. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Have a great evening.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على